Dear students, today in this video, we'll be learning about personality. Basically, we'll be learning about the definitions of personality, meaning of personality, characteristics, some of the characteristics of personality, and some theories. Theories, basically, I'll be explaining trait theories of personality in this video. In some other videos, I'll be explaining type theories as well as theories by Sigmund Freud or behaviorist or humanistic theories of personality. Let's move forward. Okay, at first we'll be discussing about the different definitions or the definitions of personality. If I have to define personality in very simple way, personality basically it refers to the enduring patterns of thoughts, emotion, and behaviors that distinguish one individual from another. Again, if I have to explain the same definition of personality, is like personality is the unique and relatively stable way in which people think, feel, and behave. Mm. Like personality is the dynamic organization of psychological system within the individual that determine their characteristics, behavior, and thinking. This definition was given by Gordon Allport. Another definition was given by Raymond B. Kettle. That was personality is that which permits a prediction of what a person will do in a given situation. So, personality is the sum total of an individual's behavioral and mental characteristics. If I'll move forward for the meaning of personality, basically the word personality it derives of it, or it's originate from the Latin word persona, which means mask that basically used by actors in ancient theaters. Over the time, the term came to represent the public image or social role a person displays. In psychology, personality basically refers to the total psychological quality of an individual. If I have to talk about the different qualities, it basically involves thoughts, emotion, habits, attitudes, and behavioral techniques. Personality determines how an individual respond to different situation. Every individual basically respond in different way in every different situation. Moving forward, we'll be discussing about some of the characteristics of personality. The first point here is unique to each other. So basically, personality is unique. Each person has a distinct personality. Next one, stable yet adaptable. Or else like stability. Personality remains relatively stable across time and situation. Personality is also dynamic and organized. That is basically personality is not random. It is a structured system of traits and behaviors. It basically influenced by heredity and environment, like biological factors, family, culture, and life experience shape personality. Apart from that, personality and physical components. Sorry, physiological and physical components. That basically includes both mental traits like attitudes, values, and physical traits like appearance. One more characteristic will be predictive value. That is basically personality helps predict how a person might behave in certain situation. One more characteristic is like integration of trait. That is basically personality combines many traits into one whole functioning system. There are different theories of personality given by different psychologists. In this video, we'll be explaining about trait theory. Among the trait theory also, we'll be mostly explaining about the theory of Gordon Allport. He gave one theory of personality, that like trait theory of personality. First, before jumping into Gordon Allport's trait theory, let's discuss about what is trait theory. Trait theory is basically it focuses on identifying and measuring the individual characteristics that make up the personality. A trait is a stable, enduring characteristics that influence behavior. So basically, when you talk about trait theory of personality, there are majorly three theories we talk about. First one is Gordon Alpert, and then next one is given by Raymond Kettle, that is 16 personality factor, or in short, we say 16 PF. Another theory given by Hans Eysenck, that is we call it like pen model or three-dimensional model. So when you talk about Gordon Alpert's trait theory, Albert basically he talked about three traits. First one is cardinal trait, second one is central trait, and third one is central trait. He basically talked about three traits, or he gave three traits within the trait theory of personality. When I talk about cardinal traits, basically it's the dominant trait that define a person's entire personality. That is like extremely rare. Not every individual will have cardinal trait, but it's extremely rare. If I have to give one example of cardinal trait, that will be like we can say non-violence. When you talk about non-violence, we remember Mahatma Gandhi. And another example can be when you talk about compassion, we remember Mother Teresa for her altruistic behavior. Next, moving forward, central trait. Central traits are basically general, consist characteristics found in most people. Every individual like holds around five to traits describe a person. If I have to give some example of central trait, that is basically honesty can be one example, sociability can be one example, responsibility can be another example. And now, if I have to talk about the secondary trait, secondary traits are that appear in specific situation. We may not be able to see the secondary trait every time, but with time to time, we see secondary trait within an individual. It's less consistent and less obvious. If I have to give example, suppose liking certain food, or suppose becoming nervous before exam. Becoming nervous before exam. It doesn't happen every day. Whenever you have exam, on that particular moment, on that particular day only, you'll be nervous. If you do not have exam, you will not be nervous. So this kind of trait doesn't appear every day. It appears on a specific situation only. I think this much is clear. So if I have to tell you the key points of Alpert's theory is basically emphasize on individuals' uniqueness, and personality is influenced more by the presence than the past, and it basically focused on conscious motivation. I hope this much is clear. In next video, we'll be explaining about Hans Eysenck's trait theory, that is pen model, as well as Kettle's 16PF model. Thank you.